I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Don't forget, we're going to have a meetup in Minneapolis, probably the night of the 6th. That would make the most sense. Somewhere in the vicinity of the print event. Okay? And you can search for it right there. The print event, oneword.com. I'll be there with some business cards and books, I think. Because WDMA at this point doesn't have a lot of brochures. We used to print lots of brochures, and we used to have big conferences, and that's how it went under. So we're strictly, we get together, we have a lot of fun. So come see me in the Twin Cities on the 6th. Even if you don't sign up for the print event, although I highly encourage, and if you're a WDMA member, there's a special deal, 15% off. So let me know if you're coming, and I'll give you the code for that. Okay, moving along. Let's go over to the Windows. Google announced a search engine for toddlers, which is detailed in the patent. It's geared toward kids who cannot yet read words. And I would guess that I was thinking there's a lot of applications for adults. We'll get back to the Middle Ages where we had, the signs were just pictures of a stein or a shoe or something like that to identify the trade, not to identify with words. So you ask it a question, and then the kids, it can even ask the kids questions. What's your favorite animal? And pops up a bubble. And the kid can say giraffe. So this could work for, below 2 years old if you want. So anyway, who knows what damage that will cause long term. We probably won't know. I was raised on Captain Kangaroo, and my whole generation believes the world is basically good, and that, causes us some problems. Anyway, and addicted to mass media. So, on another note, Chrome has added a new browser to that. What a browser does is it blocks cookies and it doesn't save them to your computer, right? But so your logins can get messed up and stuff. But also, what this article says is that now the paywall sites can't work anymore. And so I tried it out. I went to the Wall Street Journal and Ad Age, and they work fine. I wasn't quite so sure about Ad Age, but Ad Age allows you like 5 views. So does New York Times and LA Times. And so those can't tell you how many times you've been there. And so it looks like you're always a new visitor. But the Wall Street Journal basically blocks everybody who isn't signed in and subscribing. So probably what we'll see is not a loophole to get to more sites, but rather the Wall Street Journal method, where you get to read the headline and down a little bit, and then you're stopped, and it says subscribe or else. And that's how everything on the Wall Street Journal, which means if I see a story that's cited in the Wall Street Journal, I go to other sources. So it's kind of a trade-off, their loss, your gain, because I do the research and track down the story beyond the Wall Street Journal, which it almost always, they don't break the news very often. It's almost always somewhere else. Okay, on a follow-up on what happened was Amazon sold a product, a fuzzy collar, dog collar, and a lady was walking her dog, and the dog kind of took off, and the collar snapped and hit her in the eye, and she lost sight in the eye, and sued Amazon. And Amazon argues that we're not a seller of the product. We're just a vehicle or a medium of sellers. And pretty much judges have agreed with that. Although this is partly why I buy from eBay rather than Amazon, is that eBay takes its vendors seriously. And vendors don't want to get a negative review on eBay at all. So I have an article on LinkedIn called "Why I Buy Exploding Chinese Lighters." So I had, I think, 2 lighters that they can't ship them with the fuel in them. So I filled one and I lit it, and boom, my whole hand was like full of flames. It's not that hot. You can throw it down and stomp on it. So, but why would you keep on doing that? Well, part of the reason is because you almost always get immediate response from the tiny little vendors on eBay that you don't, you know, Amazon, for those of you who think it's some kind of quality assurance, is not. Okay, no matter how this court case comes down, and that's why I use incognito mode, because Amazon is such a fan of retargeting. Now, eBay started retargeting, although it doesn't seem to be going anymore. But I shop in incognito mode because usually I've bought it by the time they retarget me. So what's the point? And you can't tell anybody, hey, stop that retargeting. I don't like it anymore. Okay, and here's a really interesting pivot from a retailer. GameStop has 5,700 stores worldwide. I didn't realize they had that many. And of course, the trend is increasing to download the games, download the software, right? We used to have stores where you'd go buy software. Now, increasingly also, the gamers are not necessarily buying the software and playing the game, but they're streaming. The good ones are streaming the game, talking about the game, and then others who aren't such good gamers are watching them play and somehow get a kick out of that, I guess because of the community. That's how I learned live streaming. That's why I'm on Twitch. If you don't know what Twitch is, then you're not a gamer, that's for sure. Okay, and so GameStop's revenues and profits keep dwindling. And so what they're thinking of as a pivot is to try to get more like a Starbucks, because they did a RGA, a part of the Interpublic Group, has identified 4 motivations of players. Immersion, in other words, we don't have to think about life. You go into a different world. Achievement, because you hit higher ranks. Creativity, because there's problem solving. Especially, a lot of games are really a lot about problem solving. Some of them are, building structures and building a world out for yourself. So, and community, in a funny sense, Now because the paradigm is that the gamers are in their parents' basement, and if only to get out of the basement, clean your room, then leave. Your parents might like it, and maybe do some chores first. Then you can go to a site, a place, a physical location where there's other gamers. Now, the challenge, I think, is going to be that, at Starbucks, we're not playing Monopoly around the table. We're working on our whatever we're working on, or we're watching YouTube videos with headset on, and we're drinking coffee. So there's not really a community. Well, I don't go that often. I know I used to go to a Caribou that wasn't too far away, and there was a regular group of people that came, and you get to kind of get to know them. And there you get free refills, so I always like Caribou better. So there's probably ways to do it, but I just think it's great that someone's thinking about community in the digital world. That's what I wanted to talk about. If you have a retail store, think about building community, which brings us over to lifetime value, which ultimately is in the same vein. How do you get the customers to come back and over and over and over? How do you go from a one-time buyer? And most of the catalog companies over all the years I've worked are around 60% one-time buyers. 60% is a lot, right? More than half never come back again, no matter what. So this is a great question, and we're running low on time, so I'm going to hold off, and I'll try to start tomorrow with this. Have a great day. Like and share. Share shows you care. Your friends will think you're smart or crazy.